Welcome back to Mark's World Podcast. This is the SmackDown and Monday Night Raw review. After this, you could catch us on Hot Takes. No, I'm sorry.
No, that's the intro now. You don't get a retry.
No, it's not going to retry.
No,
but I'm sorry for you guys who really want the hot takes because
Hot
this
takes,
isn't it.
hot
This
takes.
is the podcast going round and round
Around the
globe.
world.
We're not letting you down. We're not letting you down. We are back today. It's a gloomy day out. It's raining, but we're here in the garage for you. And we're just some men trying to make content for you marks.
For the millions
And millions.
around the world.
All right.
Let's jump right into SmackDown so we can get right over it.
No, for real, because SmackDown was a fucking snooze fest. Excuse my language, but it was. I thought we were gonna be on a pretty hot streak.
Yeah.
After that Mania freaking night 2
I
ending.
think they just used everything they had.
Okay, so I think what's more important to address than anything that happened on SmackDown is why are we in this state of SmackDown being so crap?
Yeah.
We don't have Roman.
No.
John Cena hasn't been good for 10 years.
He also hasn't been on SmackDown.
Cody's gone.
Cody is gone.
What are we doing on SmackDown?
I think, like I said, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the last podcast or in like Hot Takes, but we need a new SmackDown 6. Like we
actually never spoke about, like, we briefly touched on it.
I don't know if we ever, but like we spoke about it amongst ourselves. And I feel like SmackDown's in a period right now where like they need to build stars and quick because it feels like we're getting PBS Kids on SmackDown. And don't get me wrong, PBS Kids is cool, but eventually I get tired of watching the same reruns of Arthur, bro.
That's right. I don't know. Like, the mid-card scene does carry, and I'm excited for the match on
The
Backlash.
issue is
but
the people in the mid-card scene should be in their main event scene. And then there's so many people with potential, the Flag, for example, that should be filling up the mid-card scene.
yeah.
Like, there's no reason Santos shouldn't be your U.S. champion.
No, for real, though.
No, but like, I'm saying like in general, like there's a big mid-card roster, and instead of utilizing them, we're releasing them and calling them lazy. You took away one of the biggest draws in WWE in Braun Strowman, and like one of your most consistent wrestlers, your most reliable wrestlers.
But
and
why? You know what, though? Why'd they do it?
They said he was lazy, or Paul Heyman said he sucked. So.
Well, that was at the roast. That's true.
But like he said it afterwards, and like he was like, yeah, and he was
He was over there crying that he's not on WrestleMania. And I told him it's because you suck. He didn't have nothing to say. But
I can't wait to talk about Paul Heyman later.
The real reason that I feel we're in this state, number one, because of what I mentioned. Number two, because of this AAA collab. I don't think they're freeing up cap space because they're just buying the contracts that they're already in AAA.
I think they're making room.
I think maybe they're making room on the roster, maybe not in the budget. But then again, they didn't really pull that many people from SmackDown.
How can we even bring up budget? It's $1 billion company. It's like the most wealthy. That's what I don't like.
Even
talk
Apple
about.
does it.
Yeah,
Every company does
that's
it.
what
Microsoft,
I'm saying. I'm not a big
Google.
fan of wrestling fans coming to me and be like, "Oh, but it was good for business." You don't even know what the fucking stocks look like right now.
No, that's true. I
don't get why wrestling fans are so caught up in the idea of like, oh, it's what's best for like that doesn't matter. That shouldn't matter to you. That's what's ruining wrestling. The fact that TKO and Enterprise has become the main thing of wrestling. And I meant to talk about this during Mania and all that but I got so caught up in how busy that weekend was for us and like how much work we did that like I feel like TKO as a company, the creation of TKO is harming wrestling actively. And the further we get deeper into like the TKO era of wrestle in WWE, it's harming the company. And it's harming not just WWE, it's harming UFC now. You see UFC's not using regular songs now. They're stretching over to Def Rebels making UFC theme songs.
No, they're
now.
not.
They are. Dana White signed off on. But this is what I'm saying.
What a goof.
And then we have guys like The Rock who put their corporate figure ahead of everything. You have guys like Triple H who care more about saving his corporate ass than he does caring about his product that was great. And like he genuinely had us going for a while. He casted the great King Mirage, and now it's gone. It's faded, and we're seeing through it. We've been hydrated with the shitty wrestling he's fed us for a while. And it's not. I'm not, like I said, women's wrestling is the best it's ever been. But he's not even acknowledging how good women's wrestling is right now.
You know, it's Sean.
Sean's
pumping life into the veins of WWE and pumping superpowers into the women's card. Like, he's giving them some sort of serum to make them tough.
Like, even on NXT, you see him like actively working with them. Did you see him make TikToks with them?
Yeah, he's a goof. When Jordan Grace first came.
Yeah.
Dude, they're filled up down there, and they mention it on commentary. Like Pat McAfee said, I don't know if we have seen a star-studded NXT group like this in a long time.
No. I would argue not since Black and Gold, where we had Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Aleister Black, Andrade, all the guys that everyone's like seeing on the main roster now and being like, oh, they're pretty good. You could do something with them. They were the top of the company at one point.
Right.
So it hurts me specifically. Like, I'm sure it hurts a lot of like older Black and Gold fans, because that was my ECW. Like, older wrestling fans, they had their ECW, and they're going to always say that's the best wrestling. I grew up with Black and Gold NXT, and that was one of the best eras pro wrestling history. So, and now I'm watching what happens when you take people's favorite things and you throw them into a random company.
Well, see, like, with the budget cuts, and I'm not saying I know what the stocks look like or anything.
Yeah.
I know that major corporations make budget cuts. Right. Even the $1 million, $1 billion, they all make budget cuts. Everybody's always trying to save money somewhere, no matter where it is.
Just a second. You know who isn't trying to make money? Mark's World. Because every podcast, we go out our way, we grab a Celsius, we do y'all a favor. And we crack one open.
Better put some grape in my mouth.
Putting pina colada in my mouth.
He's putting Play a Vibe in his mouth. Think about that. He's going. His throat's going a one-on-one with the Undertaker
hot
tonight.
Takes hot.
Okay, playa. His uvula is one-on-one with the Undertaker
Eddie's
tonight.
on the road.
But I really do feel like what I'm mad at more than anything. I'm not mad at Triple H. I'm not mad at TKO. Even though like people are hating, the same people that are hating, they throw up Logan Paul, and they're like, oh, how come he's not? Bro, he's a draw. Shut your mouth. It gets me so mad when they're like, oh, but we have Logan Paul. Okay. Oh, you're comparing Logan Paul to Braun Strowman? And it's like, yeah.
But I see the argument. And it's the argument we had over WrestleMania. And I think it comes down to like what you like in wrestling, I think. And I think there's just going to be that argument where like, I don't think either of us are ever going to make the other like budge on it. I personally think if we're going to invest as much time as we have into Logan Paul, there's no reason you could take these lazy wrestlers that you're calling them and put the same amount of money, effort, and time into them and make them draws. Because Rhea Ripley, look at her now. She's arguably the biggest draw on the roster.
Yeah.
And imagine if we didn't put the time and money into her.
It's true.
And girls like Dakota Kai, she's rediscovering herself, her culture. She's allowing her hair to be curly again. That's a powerful journey that a lot of little girls, they can relate to. And it's really big on TikTok. Did you see how like upset people get about like hair on TikTok and stuff like that? I think there's a babyface story in there somewhere. You see,
I feel like it's good. Yeah. I feel like I was listening to Busted Open, and I usually don't listen to Busted Open.
They're a little funny.
Yeah, but the thing was, he was saying like, well, Drew McIntyre had to go rediscover himself. They told him, go rediscover. He wasn't he had potential. He had potential then, but look at him now.
But that's not what they told these girls.
It's part of a journey.
Yeah.
But
because like, did you see how poorly they already responded to the girls? Mark Henry, of all people, who has no reason to speak on a situation whatsoever because you have a Legends contract and you could have had the worst career ever and you're chilling. And you got into WWE not for grinding out on the indies, and that's nothing away from you. You're one of the best wrestlers of all time. But how dare you say what you say to Cora Jade?
What do you say?
So Cora Jade put out the contract, the tweet saying how, it's not right that, after all this time, I could finally talk about how this whole time I was being body shamed. men talking about me in inappropriate ways, and then obviously, you know, to get her money up, and just to like.
What did Mark say?
Mark Henry was like, "There's a lot I could say right now, but you know I won't." In the comment of like a random post, like he didn't even tweet it. He put it on a comment of an Instagram post, and I know what he's referring to is that she opened up an OnlyFans.
But I don't think that's real.
What, the OnlyFans?
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
So that's so I don't know.
So this is what I was trying to get
Yeah.
at. I'm not mad at Triple H. I'm not mad at TKO. I'm mad at the fans. Every
fair.
time there is a release, you guys start posting who should have been released. You guys start posting why this person shouldn't have been released, that they're excellent and this and that. But the worst that I've seen is towards Cora Jade. You guys making fake OnlyFans accounts.
That's horrible.
Fake OnlyFans accounts with pictures that are not even cropped well. Like it's like you could see the profile picture isn't fully profile picture and the cover isn't fully a cover, and they're the past like 2 trending pictures of her.
That's horrible.
And it's like, and she has Cora Jade WWE Instagram, and it's like you wouldn't do that.
No, what I saw was her old indie name. So I'm not sure mine's real or not.
Yeah, no, that's off the old indie name, but then under it is the link to her Instagram where it says Cora J WWE, and it's like nobody would do that.
So like, but like even then, like even if she did do this, and what's not, I don't really care. Like I have no opinion on the situation. I think if she's getting her bag, she's getting her bag, and you guys are gonna pay for it. So
I feel like I don't even want to talk about what I'm about to talk about because I know it's fake and I don't even want to give it attention.
Right.
But it's so disgusting that I'm going to. Then they're posting they're cropping these pictures up, acting like CM Punk posted on his story.
Right.
And I want, like, it was like, gonna miss the late night text and you keeping
That's
me lonely on
ridiculous.
the, like, you keeping me company on this lonely road or something.
that's insane.
And it's
'Cause
like, he's never done.
all Punk has ever said to her, like since the release, was that like you're gonna do great things, kid.
Yeah, and they added on to that.
This ever since he's got to the company and he showed an interest in girls who are obviously big fans of him and his wife, they've made him out to be this really weird creep, and that's the issue. There's like this loud. I'm not even gonna say it's a majority of wrestling fans,
No, but
because we're the majority of wrestling fans that were grossed out.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's those weirdos that think they could sit there and they're the ones that talk about the business. They're the ones that talk about, well, look who's making the most money. Look who's bringing in the money. If you look at Mania and its projections, it didn't do well this year.
No.
And we had Cena in his last Mania ever. So what are we talking about? They had to come out and lie about the number multiple times throughout WrestleMania. They had Stone Cold come out and lie his ass off after running over a woman.
He was scared. He was scared to lie to us.
But like, yeah. And the
So-
fact that we got into this tangent just shows how weird SmackDown was.
I feel like the releases came right before SmackDown. This is a big part of SmackDown.
This is a big part of wrestling.
It is a big part of wrestling. And then shortly after, it's not signings of AAA, but they're kind of buying out their contracts.
Yeah, Del Rio.
And then like a couple other, Vikingo.
But like, they're not WWE contracts. They're AAA contracts.
They're AAA
still.
contracts.
They're just renewing them under the new thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing. I'm upset with Dirt Sheets. Saying
WWE just signed
Have your
Alberto
opinions
Del
on
Rio.
who you want in like the company and like Alberto Del Rio. I think anyone who has an opinion on him is valid in their opinion. But let's read the post. He's not coming. I don't think he's actually going to pull up.
No, he is. And I'm pretty
Maybe
sure
for,
he's
like, a
going to
Worlds
pull up
Collide.
with Sheamus, Rusev,
Oh,
and
the
Wade
League
Barrett.
League of Nations?
They're all signed right now.
Yeah, they are. Why isn't Wade Barrett? Why isn't bro? Add Nick Aldis to that? Oh my god, Alberto. I miss Santino Marella. He used to get upset at how Jesus said it, and then he used to be no, it's Alberto. And he would gas up on a different part of it.
He's not Italian, is he?
He's Italian. He's not even Mexican or anything like that. I know at one point they were trying to throw him in with like Mexican people, and it didn't make much sense to me.
So to get towards SmackDown a little bit. We had LA Knight versus Damian Priest. There was like that opening segment where Damian Priest got in a little scuffle with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, and LA Knight walked right past him and started going towards the ring, talk his shit. And he's talking about how people are challenging for the United States title. He needs the challenge at the United States title and whatever. And it made for, we're going to get, I don't know if it's going to be a good match. I'm pretty sure it's Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. So I think I called this, actually.
Yeah.
I said that they're going to take the two feuds that we had at
And
Mania.
they're going to merge. You did. You called this at Mania, I think. Or
maybe
like
right after our like review for Mania. So
I think it's gonna be good. They've dubbed this in the past with like the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title, or like the Universal title, when like they were changing or interchanging what was like the most important title in the company. And like some of the best matches I've ever seen came out of that. Like we got Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman versus Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam in the main event. I'm not sure if you've seen that. Watch it. It's a banger.
Yeah, but I think what I like about this the most is what I liked about the mid card the most, and it was funny because it has nothing really to do with anybody in the match.
Yeah.
It was when Solo's trying to be Jacob's wise man.
Yeah.
And he's going over to Nick Aldis and he's like, "Oh, you're putting in a fade," like basically just crying to him. And then Solo said something along the lines that like, "You're just trying to like basically like do Jacob dirty," and he was like, and Jacob had already walked away, and he's like, "No, Solo, that's you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh,
Nick Aldis has been probably the saving grace of like authority figures in WWE. I like Adam Pearce a lot, but I feel like he's a bad authority figure.
Yes,
because his show goes to crap.
It's the gimmick.
Yeah, and that's the gimmick of Raw.
Chaos ensues.
Yeah.
Raw, like
I think that's
Raw.
what Raw is right now, and like it kind of fits the name. It's Raw.
Raw is war.
Yeah, and I feel like we're coming into an era like that again, and I think Nick Aldis is just, he has aura, bro.
Dude, he came out like when this is reaching back a little bit, but when Pat McAfee called, he said, "Let me get SmackDown's version of Adam Pearce out here." And then Nick Aldis came out and he was like, "I know Adam Pearce likes to let chaos ensue." And he was like, "But that's not how we're doing it."
Yeah, he's
and it was like,
"This is how I do it." Yeah.
He's putting his foot down.
I want to see Adam Pearce versus Nick Aldis at like a Survivor Series.
Dude, they both make teams. They both make teams, dude.
Yes,
that would be crazy.
Get rid of War Games this year? Get rid of War Games.
Let him go in War Games.
No. This is what I'm saying. I missed the old Survivor Series elimination match.
Yeah.
I thought that was way better. One of my favorite matches of all time is I believe it's the 2016 Survivor Series, Authority versus Team Cena. And the last person left was Dolph Ziggler. Everyone thought we were cooked. Dolph Ziggler starts taking out the entirety of the Authority, and then he won.
they use that as they're like, people say that he didn't try. And it's like the try, and it's him saucing everybody in that match.
And it's insane. It's one of the best performances in pro wrestling history.
You want to know my least favorite thing about those matches?
What?
The red and blue shirts.
Oh yeah, I don't think they needed that.
I hate that. It's so goofy.
I mean, I like when they did
the basketball jerseys.
No.
Do you remember that?
No.
It was like Lakers and the Nuggets or something, and then that was the match that Mr. Kennedy gave Randy that back suplex.
I think I do remember.
He gave him that back suplex, and it was like, what?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, baseball jerseys would go crazy.
Baseball jerseys would go crazy.
Yeah, baseball jerseys are nice. I wrestled in a baseball jersey.
He did. But then we get into Fraxium versus Pretty Deadly, which was a good match. It was a good match. Fraxium is
I'm happy
making their
that
presence known.
They're bringing Fraxium up as a tag team, and like they didn't go through with like the push on like the hashtag Fraxium is okay thing that they were doing in their feud in NXT, where when they forced them to be a team, and like it's kind of weird in the beginning, but like they were so good, like they had such a natural connection.
Yeah.
And every show there was like tension between the two of them, but they did the different thing, which again, Shawn Michaels has just been on another level. Sorry, Celsius. And they kept Fraxium together, and I think Fraxium really proved itself to be like the epitome of today's tag team wrestling at its highest level. And what they did for the NXT tag scene before leaving and elevating those guys to a new level, and now there's so much they have to do now.
But what I hate about the internet wrestling community is that they want to see Nathan Frazier turn on Axiom and unmask him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm joking. I made that up. That's me.
Oh,
I want to see that.
You want to see that?
Loki, that would
You're
be gas.
who I'm upset about.
That would be gas.
Because we finally have a good tag team.
I know. I like them.
No,
I can't wait.
SmackDown's tag division is so good.
Well,
right?
you're telling me you can't wait for Braun Breaker to turn on Seth? Like to get that match
No,
eventually along the road? Like
no, I'm pretty good right now.
no, right now, but you're
Yeah,
not excited of the thought. I think Fraxium.
Give me a
excites
bit
me.
more time for Breaker to grow on me more with this faction.
Okay.
Because I've liked Breaker so far. Like I was the most excited when Breaker finally came out as heel. But I think that there's a big difference because these were two guys who, like, if they didn't make this team, they were going to be on the release block also.
Yeah. And they became the best NXT tag team
and then
to ever
look at
do
their
it.
call-ups as solo guys.
Even though you're black and gold guy,
Yeah.
they are the best tag team in NXT history.
Eh.
It's them.
I think they have a case. So, like, I'm not disagreeing with you. I could put them on, like, my Mount Rushmore. Just because one of my favorite... I'm saying this a lot tonight, one of my favorites. But I was in the crowd to watch Mustache Mountain versus Undisputed Era at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. And then at the end of the match, the War Raiders came out. This is back when they had all the hype in the world. They took Kyle O'Reilly, or was it Tyler Bate? It was one of them. Threw him like 8 feet in the air. I'm sitting in the audience, and I've never seen a man get launched that high by another man. And they just slammed him. But I think...
I like Fraxium a lot.
I love Fraxium.
One thing I want to call out from this match.
Yeah.
And I know I sound like a stickler. I sound but I'm not somebody to like really harp on botches and be like, oh, because I botched moves and I've botched moves. A lot of people
That's
you botch
wrestling,
moves,
though.
and that's just what it is. But it was, I don't know, and I don't want to blame the referee either because it is what it is.
Sometimes it just happens. Shit happens.
But it was definitely something I noticed. It's like we have this podcast to talk about stuff. That's what it's for.
So I didn't watch SmackDown entire. I watched Aleister Black versus Miz, and that was it.
don't snitch on yourself.
No, I will. I right before we started. I scrolled through SmackDown.
Well, like we said, SmackDown sucked.
Yeah.
It was really bad. But this part, Nathan Frazier comes and does like almost like a gainer moonsault and lands his elbow right across the chin of Elton Prince. And Elton Prince immediately grabs his mouth and goes for the count 1, 2. He never lets go of his mouth. The ref stops the count, and it's like, oh. And I'm like, it looked weird at first to see him take his hands away.
The issue is back when we were training, where we were training is like it was when you saw blood, you called off the match. But like we would never do that. If I was bleeding, I would just wipe it and like keep wrestling.
Yeah, like but if you were leaking though, that's a different story.
That's what I'm saying. And the refs were always taught you count to 3. If they don't kick out, that's on them.
Right. So I don't know
And it's
who's in
happened
her
in the
ear.
past.
I don't know who's in her ear.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, this is the finish.
And
hey, if
it
like,
could
it's
be
not
that
this.
she might be a newer ref or she's new to that situation.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like us
on
especially,
TV too.
Yeah, us especially, like we know what it's like to be new in an awkward situation.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that story one day in the future because it is a part of like why this podcast is a thing.
Without a doubt.
But it's why I kind of relate. Like I feel bad for her, and I can understand where she went wrong. There's some things that you can't prep for unless you're in the moment.
And and the thing is, after that moment is when you have perspective on things like this. And that's why I wanted to say, hey, I'm not just one to be here calling out botches because it is something that happens. And like you could, that's why the internet wrestling community gets me so
What
mad.
I don't get is they're upset, but it's stuff like that makes me love wrestling.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is live theater. We're watching people like go crazy.
Dude, he muscled up and he kept
live.
it going. And he did it.
And like personally, maybe you should have thrown up the X if he's leaking like that. But
I think it was initially like he was leaking really bad.
He might have just been rocked.
Maybe.
I've been rocked pretty bad.
Yeah.
Where like my nose busted open and like I like almost fell out the ring. So
but that part of the match was like, oh my goodness. And it's not to say that was the highlight of the match because it wasn't. Every highlight of the match is when those boys start freaking.
They're so fast.
Oh my goodness. They're crazy. They're really good.
I'm also just happy Pretty Deadly's on TV. I hope they're...
Yes, boy.
Side plate check.
Side plate check. They're good.
We got to get a Mark's World, like custom Mark's World tag titles and side plate check.
Side plate check. They're good.
Yeah.
And people get so mad and they're like, oh, what about Pretty Deadly? What about Alpha Academy? How come we're having them on TV still? Pump the brakes.
That makes no sense.
You need them.
Yes.
You need them.
Yes, they are essential to...
Because look, who's coming in? Who's coming up? It's Fraxium. And who are they putting them up against? pretty deadly.
Yeah.
They're obviously needed. So then,
And not for nothing, get Pretty Deadly like 2 years. They're gonna have like two.
they're not bad in ring,
They're good in ring.
and their characters are great.
Yes, we're in, like we said, we're in a really weird spot with SmackDown right now, where I feel like nobody is getting utilized. Like, what happened to Carmelo Hayes?
He's better to wrestle Aleister Black.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. By the way, that might be like a match.
And people are hating. People are,
But
you.
what I'm saying, when I'm saying what happens to Carmelo Hayes, you can't give him Andre the Giant and make it feel the most important it's felt in years, and then have him sit at ringside. But he is getting used. And I think he's probably one of the best naturally grown stars because they're not forcing him on us.
No.
And I thought that was the mistake they made with Braun.
Yes.
Where they threw the title on him and they made him a baby face because he could look at all the cool things I could do and I'm this big. You gotta let the crowd appreciate them first before you can push them.
Sometimes
Which is why Karrion Kross
watch his documentary, please.
is gonna be probably a world champion in the next year or so.
He would have been on the budget cut.
Yes,
if he didn't cut that promo at WrestleMania.
I think he might win Money in the Bank.
If he didn't go to GCW that day, he didn't make the vlog.
Yep.
If he didn't do everything that he just did, because people were on, Braun Strowman was main eventing.
That's what
and
I'm
he
saying.
got cut.
And Braun Strowman, exactly what Karrion. I'm a good soldier.
Yeah.
He had no feeling in his foot, and he's wrestling these crazy matches.
Yeah, and then but Karrion, he must have caught wind.
He must have.
He must have caught
Do you
wind.
see the crowd when he comes out now?
Dude, they like him.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, let the crowd appreciate him first.
But never turn him babyface.
No.
Stop doing that. Stop. You ruined Jey Uso that way.
Yeah.
Ruin Jey Uso. And the thing is, obviously, I still love Jey
Mm-hmm.
Uso. And when my girlfriend sees this, she's gonna be like, you like Jey Uso? But listen, I do like Jey Uso, and it's because I know that the crowd ruined him.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't him. That you guys started moving with him, and it's like, oh yeah, everybody moved with him. So now you're mad that he's doing the thing that you guys did with him,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, what the hell? And you guys fell in love with the right-hand man, Jey Uso. Gave him so many pops and like, babyface, babyface, babyface every single time. And now where's it's my family Uso? It's not there anymore.
Yeah. He lost a lot of
not there.
He lost a lot of the weight that was keeping him afloat. What we'll get to it in Raw. What I will say is, if he keeps it up, I'll shut up. Because, wow.
So we got The Miz versus Aleister Black.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. Like I said, it's the only thing I watched on SmackDown. I love The Miz. Lifelong Miz fan, always will be. When he retires, I'll probably be a mess. Aleister Black, awesome. I think it's such an interesting first feud to bring him into, but I think Miz is the right guy to do it. Aleister Black can promo. He hasn't done much of it.
He doesn't have to.
Yeah, he doesn't have to right now because they're just
shouldn't
building
right now.
And I think they're doing exactly what I said they need to start doing more. Is letting the crowd, and they did. Because did you see the TikTok reactions to him cartwheeling out of the what's it called, the skull crushing finale?
Yeah. I was gonna call it a BFT
Yeah,
for some
I've never
reason.
seen someone counter it like that.
Yeah, he cooked. Yeah.
And he just stood there. I was hoping he would cut and then hit the black mass right away, but that was a good way to get the crowd to eat it.
And I wasn't someone who watched Aleister Black. I'm not a black and gold guy. So this is my introduction to Aleister Black, which might sound crazy. Why are you making a podcast if you don't?
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut your mouth. But listen,
Shut up.
I will take fault that, sorry, Aleister Black, I didn't know that you could ball. I wasn't familiar with your game. And when you came through and gave us that black mask that totally missed, I hated you. And then this week, I was like, Mans could move. Mans could freaking move.
Miz can sell.
And Miz could freaking. Miz is great.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for Carmelo because that's great. That, like, what? With Rusev, we're going to get him versus Tozawa.
Yeah.
But this one is a good stepping stone.
I think we're going to get a handicap match out of them.
Maybe. Wait, which one?
Out of Rusev and...
We'll talk about that one.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that one. But Nia Jax also came out and cut a promo that was...
I'm glad she's back.
Yeah.
She's moving. She's in motion again. We talked about this on Hot Takes.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. We talked about her on Hot Takes a bit. I think Nia Jax, like, she completely converted me because I would be the first one to hate on Nia Jax.
I hated on her.
And her most recent run since returning, and she slimmed down a lot. She's just so talented. She's the first in WWE because on Joshi Wrestling they have plenty of hosses and like they're all good. Like I'm not sure if you've heard of Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Yeah.
The TNA. I was big into Awesome Kong.
So Awesome Kong, she comes from.
She didn't have a good run in WWE.
No, she had a horrible run, but she also had a run in Japan, which made her one of the biggest stars in Japan. So Nia Jax is, to me, a potential next Awesome Kong.
She could be.
But I think she's better because she has this crazy character. And I think she's the one Samoan that can't rely on the nepotism because the people shut her down so much and like berated her. And like you've seen like when she does like interviews and stuff, she's gotten emotional over like how bad this community has treated her. And I'm just happy to see people are giving her flowers recently. Someone in Hot Take said Nia Jax gets too much hate, and she's honestly probably one of the best wrestlers like on the women's roster. She is the first women's Haas wrestler in modern times that does her job well. And my biggest gripe with men's wrestling, I've said this on this podcast before, and I've said it to him. Hosses don't move like hosses anymore. Nia Jax is a hoss.
Yeah.
And we need hosses.
Yo, since you mentioned Awesome Kong, I really want a Match Club review to be Awesome Kong versus ODB.
Sure.
ODB used to get me hyped because like I was young and she would come out with the beers and it was like a female
I used to
version
like
of
Gail
Stone.
Kim a lot.
Yeah. Chelsea Green said that's her goat.
It's a lot of people's goat. She's another one that we're gonna have to do like a proper like on our Patreon. I've been writing stuff down for this. I'm gonna put it up on there soon. But I'm gonna do like short reviews of like a wrestler and their career where like I do my own research because I'm interested. And I'll be like, hey, so check this out. And this is how I feel. This is how I think what they've done for the company. I've seen there's this guy. I'll mention him on the next podcast because I can't remember his name right now, but his work on TikTok is probably some of my favorite content. He introduced like a bunch of mainstream guys to like Mizawa, Kenta Kobashi, etc.
I also want to, because you're big into the Japan stuff.
Yeah, I'm big into like a lot of it, like really niche wrestling.
I have just gotten into, I didn't know that C-Mall, like the history between C-Mall and...
It's heat.
Yo, dude. And I was watching...
You know more than I do.
An hour documentary on LA Park, La Parka.
Yeah.
Freaking Parka. It should have just been his name. Dude, that was... Oh,
yeah.
And the guy, he's not that great at English who's doing the review.
Yeah.
But I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sitting there and I'm so absorbed into this because it's such a good actual real storyline. If you want real stuff and you want dirt sheets...
Yes.
Go to Mexican wrestling, bro.
Watch Joseph Montesio. I think that's how you say his name. He's the best wrestling document. Like he makes the best wrestling essays, everything. He's what got me into Japanese wrestling.
Really?
He did like a whole series on King's Road, which is like a Japanese style of wrestling, which got me into Mizawa, Kawada, Kobashi, all of them. And now I have all this useless knowledge that I can only use on this podcast.
That's all right though.
But I think if you want to do yourself a favor and you really want to deep dive into like the art and like the rich history that is pro wrestling, because this shit dates back before World War II, and that's crazy. Like you'll learn about guys like you're gonna hear the rain.
Yeah, you could hear the rain in the background,
which is kind of cool.
Oh wow, it's coming down.
Yeah, it's been like this all day.
Oh wow, no, but it's
I'm
coming
watching
down.
Nice. But yeah.
We could get into my heart. I feel like
What's this about? Oh yeah.
One more time. Oh, we love you, Zelina. Oh, we love you, Zelina. Oh, we love you, Zelina. Zelina.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're reaching into the Europe. We're deep in there. And thank you. I don't ever want to talk about her wrestling, her storylines. You guys need to stop hating, and saying, oh, she doesn't really feel like a champion. Oh,
Did you see how upset they were over her photo shoot? The photo shoot that every wrestler has ever done.
Y'all are mad.
Becky Lynch put in her book a picture of her and Seth Rollins naked with their world titles, and they're upset because she wore it, and she had a bra on.
They're tight.
And they were like, look at this. Whatever happened to respecting your world championship? Shawn Michaels was butt naked with the winged angle around his waist.
You're mad. You're mad. That's what admit it. Just say that you're mad and you're hating.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it.
Just say you're not LWO.
Say that you hate Mexicans. Say it.
Puerto Ricans too.
Yeah. Well, she's Mexican.
I thought she's Puerto Rican.
She is, but she's in the LWO.
Oh yeah, that instantly makes him Mexican. So crazy stuff with Joaquin Phoenix. He did have my Puerto Rican, but since he got the LWO tattoo, he sent it back to me. So
Did you send you back? And like the 21 and me.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm Vincent Torres again, but like I'm Vincent Torres. And he is now Joaquin.
why did he change his name to
Finissimo.
Wild?
But he's officially Mexican now. And the Filipino is just gone from both of us. I don't know what
has
happened
me a little
to
sad? A little bit, Zelina. A little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit of heat. Why didn't you throw it up? You win the title.
Yeah.
They brought you to the dance, and you forget who brought you to the dance.
Is she not repping them anymore?
Oh, she forgot who brought her to the dance.
Bro, she has the tattoo though. You know that's gonna be a tattoo we have to get, right?
I wanted that tattoo. I'm not gonna lie. I like Eddie.
Over the summer, we're gonna have to get it. We're gonna get it.
And a Mark's World tat on my face.
The new one.
Mark's World.
Wait till you see the merch that's about.
No, the whack one. The whack.
I'm gonna get the one I made. My shit looks good.
I'm gonna get the whack one on my face. I'll get the other one on my arm because I like nice arm tats.
We're gonna make a sleeve out of it.
Out of our quotes.
Yeah.
So then we have a great match with I don't know how to feel. I mean, this is the thing. Santos Escobar goes backstage.
Yeah.
And he starts beefing a little bit with Rey Fenix. He was like, I watched you at WrestleMania and you are such a disappointment. And it's true.
Yeah.
It's true because even though Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio have their little bit of beef, that has nothing to do with it because he knows who's the grandfather and the godfather of the LWO.
He wore his gear before.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you saw that NXT match
Yeah,
where he
did.
wore the Halloween Havoc gear.
Yeah. The question mark gear.
That match is fire.
Bro. But he has the tat, and it's for a reason.
Yep.
And he still posts it because he has respect for Rey Mysterio. He's always said that he had respect for Rey Mysterio. And he went to Rey Fenix and he said, the godfather of the LWO puts you in a position where he trusted you to take his spot. And you go and lose to El Grande Americano. Huh?
I just say it Italian.
Because that's how Chad Gable tried to use his...
Is it really?
You have to watch the segment with Penta.
El Grande Americano.
That's what he did. He goes, Chad Gable tells Penta, he was like, you know what was my favorite part of WrestleMania? You know, it's funny because he goes, hey, Penta. Penta turns around.
I did see this. And then Penta
gives him a freaking enziguri to the chest.
Yeah.
And the Chad goes,
he was like, puto.
Ew, puto. But it was funny because he does say, he goes, my favorite part was watching your brother Rey Fenix lose to El Grande Americano. we have to get that sound.
El Grande
But
Americano.
I understand his love for El Grande Americano, and he's like saying that's his favorite.
No, it's valid.
But bro, like,
I go over after
put some respect on. Put a little more respect on his name. I saw your little interview in that like bookstore somewhere in Vegas, and he's like, look, the guy just came in. He's getting a match on Mania. There's a reason.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Sit down. But
Stay humble.
I'm still humble. I don't want to get copyrighted, but
Yep.
Rey Fenix and Santos Escobar was a banger. It was a banger. But there's a problem with the meshing of the mid card on SmackDown because we have that one unit, and then they're giving us a WCW cruiserweight division of luchadors.
They should just bring back the cruiserweight title.
If they're gonna treat it like this,
Yeah, because
but everybody's a cruiserweight now.
yeah, but I think that's good. It works in favor of it because now when
it
you
could
have
be the
these-
world title.
No, but
Because
like when you have
everybody's
like all
small
these
now.
cruiserweights who have nothing to do, and they're also capable of being like Adrian Neville when he was on he's Pac now or Pac whatever. When he was on WWE, he almost beat Seth Rollins for the WWE title, and then he went on to have one of the best cruiserweight title runs when he was the king of the cruiserweights. There's no reason we can't have Santos, Ray, even have all these guys revitalize that division and like bring life to it.
I said stop fighting about lucha.
Yeah.
I get it. Worlds Collide is coming up, but the thing is, and I get it. Like now we're really fighting. We're pushing that.
But why are we making them fight each other? instead of like, be upset about the people coming.
Didn't I say?
Yeah.
Worlds collide makes no damn sense if you don't make worlds collide.
You're right.
Worlds collide makes no sense if you don't make worlds collide. Hamburguesa, hamburger. He should be facing John Cena. Alberto should be wrestling Jey Uso. El Vikingo should be wrestling Carmelo Hayes. That'd be a good match. But
Give Vikingo like.
give him everything. But I love what they're doing. Rey Fenix, he's been cooking. I wish he would join the LWO so I could really give him a hug. But
he's a distant cousin.
go be a lucha bro, you bum. You bum.
Scum.
You bum. I can't wait to get into Raw because I really have
Raw's
some
so
grievances.
good. I'm excited.
I really have but grievances towards Penta.
That's fair.
But it's nothing in ring, nothing promo wise.
Just him.
No, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
Well, I think this is it for SmackDown, right?
Jade, exactly how it felt. Sorry. And
the Jade Cargill segment.
no, the Jade Cargill and Tiffany
They had a
Stratton
match?
versus Naomi and Nia Jax.
Okay.
Naomi needs to be world champion.
Have her beat Tiffany.
She should. And it's the best way to do it because you're knocking Tiffy down to a heel and she's babyface. Jade Cargill isn't ready and I don't want to see another Nia Jax run.
I think we've proved that Tiffy wasn't ready. And that hurts me to say because like I was on the train. Like I was all aboard.
Tiffy time. I think
everything about her is good. She's just not a champion yet.
she needs a chase.
Yeah.
No, she's a
She
good
was a
person
good
to chase.
NXT champion.
Yeah, she was. She was a really good one. Her and Becky had a banger.
I think she has the same issue Jey Uso's having right now.
Or how about Rhea when she had her first title run?
Yeah, Rhea had needed to like grow into.
Yep.
And I think this is just growing pains, and I think it will come. She's so young.
Yeah.
She will be.
And she wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
As much as that might upset people, she wasn't. But she's a hell of an athlete. And
hell of a wrestler.
yeah, and it has showed that that just happens to be the vibe sometimes.
And her gimmick is good.
Yeah, her
like
gimmick's
she
great.
does the Barbie so well.
She's really good. She's really good.
I think if you can't have a good match with Charlotte, and it's partially on Charlotte too, because there was faults in that match. I think there is something to be said about like your in-ring ability and like your lack of an IQ to know what you can and can't do.
Hot take.
Hot
Becky and hot takes going round and round.
around the globe.
We're not letting you down. But fuck, what was I gonna say? Now?
Becky, you said something about Becky.
Okay, the build.
I already agree because I thought you were going with it.
Tiffany and Charlotte needed the build that Becky and Lyra Valkyria are having right now.
They forced the connection between Tiffany and Charlotte, and it ended up being a bad connection. Meanwhile, Lyra and Becky have just been cooking. It's like been a slow cook.
You know what? We're getting into it right
Yeah.
now. We're done with SmackDown. We're done with SmackDown.
I didn't watch SmackDown. If you could, I want to do this now. If you could rate SmackDown in 5 stars, right? 5 stars being the highest, where would you?
It wasn't a bad SmackDown, if depending on the time of year you're watching it.
Well, just rate it from your experience. Like, don't think about the kid 10 years from now who goes back and watches his random episode of SmackDown to see Santos versus.
Right. Okay.
Think about you in the moment.
A 3.
A 3?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No.
That's solid.
No.
That's TV.
But the thing is, Triple H spoiled us. That's why everybody's so up in arms. I didn't watch wrestling through the 2017 to 2021 era that I heard was trash.
It was horrible.
I think that we've been spoiled and now we're like, oh, this sucks. It's like, no, but we just have episodes like the Raw we're about to talk about that make you have such high expectations.
I think another big issue with that is we're having 5-match pay-per-views, which I personally love because they're digestible. Mm-hmm. You got to go back to the brand split. You had to enforce the brand split. Give me a Raw pay-per-view. Give me a SmackDown pay-per-view.
And let NXT invade.
That was the best. Yeah, that's also always good. That was one of my favorite eras. 2016, when everyone had their own shit going on, and then we got Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles at TLC on a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. We got Dolph Ziggler versus The Miz. When The Miz showed that he's a baller, and he proved me right to everyone because everyone thought I was stupid.
No, he cooked.
Yeah. And then on Raw, we got Finn Balor's ascension. In his first week, he beat Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins to win the
Yeah, I see. I didn't watch it that time, but like the lore, it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
You know how good these guys who were good in that era were.
And it also gives you so much more time to utilize your guys instead of focusing on John Cena and Jey Uso on the same roster.
I stopped watching wrestling because of John Cena. And I can't believe I'm sitting through the bullshit that he's putting us through. I don't like him, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, no, it sucks. No, it sucks. I'm excited to see Randy, but Randy's going to lose, and you suck.
You know, they officially built it as the last time ever.
Yeah,
like they held off on it.
Yep.
And now, because I remember last week, like, well, it's not the last time ever. We're probably going to get 2 or 3 more. This is the last time ever.
I told people on TikTok this when I was on the TikTok. No, they have so long to build. Yeah, I said John Cena's not around enough to build another storyline with Roman.
I think he's filming more movies right now.
What's the point, bro? What's the point?
Why agree to the run?
Randy cut into him. Oh, I missed that promo that in SmackDown. Randy cut into him, and this is the only thing I'm going to say, and it's always the reason why I didn't like John Cena. The headbands. The wristbands. I guess I was just a little like I like DX wristbands, and then when John Cena did it, I was like, ugh.
Because his felt like,
but he might have been doing it before them, but
maybe
because with the black ones, like the Thugonomics.
The thing, Cena felt like Superman in a world where we were all trying to like get on like the Spider-Man. I mean Spider-Man and Batman train, where like there's like an edginess to it.
He was Fruity Pebbles, and I like Cookie Crisps.
Yeah, like we want Venom, we don't want
right.
You know?
No, that's the thing.
Yeah,
and that's how John Cena has always been to me.
That's why Thugonomics was so good, though.
Thugonomics was great.
Good era for Cena.
But that's all I'll say about what's going on with SmackDown. It's bad right now, but
I think
they'll shut us up next week.
Oh yeah.
Wow, Raw. Wow. Better than Raw after Mania. Without a doubt.
And Raw's been nonstop.
Raw hasn't been bad.
Like we had an okay Raw last week, and we were.
It was good.
Yeah, I think maybe like right afterwards we were like, but like now that I sat on it, it was okay. I still think it's okay Raw.
Yeah.
But like they've been doing what they needed to do. I feel like we're getting proper builds to matches. Dominic Mysterio has already proven to be a great Intercontinental Champion because his title, everyone wants it. And it feels like people actually care about the Intercontinental title again.
I want to get into that too, because I thought that SmackDown was just doing it well with the mid-card scene. Mm-hmm. Wow, whoa, I didn't know what we were doing over.
Even on the women's
end. It totally slipped my mind of how much good talent we have to build a mid-card on Raw.
This is why we need brand exclusiveness.
It would work. It would work.
Because then we could put them on pay-per-views and not have to worry about who fits where.
So my boy comes out.
Yeah.
Yeet in. Yeah. Run it back with his little head nod over to the corner rope. Let's go. And it's cool. He reminds me of Will Smith in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I can see that, yeah.
Like,
why doesn't he build himself as that, though?
He's almost 40. But
so is Will Smith. No.
He wasn't when he shot Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, but you know, wrestling years are different.
Yeet. I like that the yeet has been toned down a little bit.
Thank God.
He didn't have to go. But he actually had to ask. He said, "Hey, Omaha, help me out a little bit."
Yeah.
And so I was like, good.
And I think that's because fans, like, they were in a wrestling area. I didn't think Omaha was like that. But they were like,
what a crowd.
Forget the show. Like that.
Forget the show.
They made the show.
You made the show.
Thank you for listening to our podcast and taking away like the gripes we had with last week and like coming and like delivering.
So Paul Heyman comes out and wow. Jey Uso says, don't get into this ring. Like after what you did to my family, don't get into this ring. And he's like, whoa, coming for real nice coming from you, you know, real rich coming from you.
I'm from New York. I will whoop your ass.
Paul Heyman comes out and plays what's sort of similar to what Kevin Owens was doing. Yeah, Kevin's right. But that's just storylines in general. That was Becky Lynch played into it too.
Paul did it so good.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm trying to remember what he said exactly.
Why do I feel like it was? Why do I feel like it was his best promo?
It has. Why do I feel that There's gonna be some ball in the. But he had this promo where he's like
with Vince
cut
McMahon?
a pipe. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that one was good.
But I agree. I think I agree.
That was really good.
Did he say? Why am I
he came through and he was like, I saw a big dog, a stray big dog
on the island of irrelevancy.
And I took him and I built him up for 1,000
Yeah.
1,316 days, and he goes and he loses his championship to Cody Rhodes
because he's too busy.
after I built up he's too busy focused on Seth Rollins after I built up the bloodline for 5 years.
We were undisputed world heavyweight universal. He was cooking.
And he was like, and then, what is
Screw
Roman?
you!
What does Roman do? Does he come to avenge me after he left me with the Samoans and those Tongans and almost ended my 40-year career? No, he came back for this Ulafala. And it was like, oh my goodness. And this boy was like, I'm right.
And so he's
Screw you. But I felt all of it. I felt it all.
It felt so legit because it felt like a crash out. Like sometimes you like. I'm not sure if you felt a proper crash. I know we felt our crash outs.
Yeah.
And like I've had my crash outs. That I felt his crash out, and me.
It was worth it.
But it was also a fan crash out
deserved.
because he made sense. He made sense of the irrationality of the build to the main event. Right? Because the issue was, it was all about Paul Heyman. No, it wasn't.
And he filled in storyline holes.
Yes.
Like, it's like, why are you even with Roman after he didn't come back to avenge you?
Paul Heyman has always been probably the greatest mind in pro wrestling history. People will argue it's Vince and whatever.
He stole a lot from
Yeah.
Paul. But that makes a good mind. Everybody steals. Everybody steals in wrestling.
Paul Heyman continues to stay relevant. Like, you know, they make the jokes about the island of irrelevant. Name a time Paul Heyman fell off and was irrelevant.
Axel.
Even when he had Oh yeah, I guess.
That's
that
it.
was really
That's
short.
it though. That's it.
I really wanted his Claudio, like, so he had Cesaro for like a day, and everyone was like, he was the talk of the pro wrestling scene, and then they just stopped it. Like, there was no explanation.
I felt like they
there
were
was
going to do
nothing.
that. I felt like they were going to do that on Raw. I didn't know what was going. Like, Paul Heyman's so on the edge right now, and he's such a pivotal point that if he jumps and screw you guys, you're booing. Save your booze. Oh, like he just knows.
That's so.
But I was nervous.
Yeah.
For Jey Uso, because I was like,
how do you respond to that?
And no better character to be in that ring to just shift tension real quick.
Yeah.
You good, Us?
But that's what remember when I talked about Jey Uso at the press conference as the Jey Uso I want to be world champion?
And that was.
I feel like we're
that
getting
was a hint of it.
And like people are refusing to watch the product right now because of Jey Uso. And
Good, don't watch. I don't.
you're missing out on the evolution of a guy that like we all hate it collectively, and now he's like going out of his way to like level up. And later on in the night, later on in this podcast, we'll talk more about like how talented he showed out to be. And obviously there was help and like there was a bunch of like, but it's the fact that I'm not saying he felt like a world champion yet. I still feel like but he feels like a possible champion.
So what I
which
saw
is what I didn't get from him before. So to be a possible, like he's working his way from like you should be a mid Carter and like you're comfortable being Intercontinental Champion. That's your peak. Now he felt like, oh, this guy, he's a good contender. This felt like early the Roman Reigns feud.
He doesn't feel exactly like a world champion right now.
Yeah, but I think that's his gimmick.
Right. It's like I got it.
Yeah,
because my people got. He's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Kind of.
He's Spider-Man. And he's getting passed through.
And now
be careful. He's a hero.
That world title. That's gonna be his symbiote, right? Where he got him acting like Tobey Maguire. And we're kind of getting an edgy, but it's a good edginess.
I like how he got baited because Jey Uso's a hothead. Perfect way to write that. It's like, poke him a little bit and he'll bite.
Yeah.
A little bit of weirdness after the fact because Paul Heyman goes to the back. Seth Rollins like he bit, told you so, taps him down, and then he walks out. And then Braun Breaker goes, Seth freaking Rollins versus Jey Uso for the world championship. And I was like, he's jealous. He's a little jealous. And then Paul's like, do you understand what's going on here? Like, we're getting the keys to the kingdom. Da, 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 da.
I like that though. I like that he's a passionate, hungry young man.
Dude, he's a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And
but he's also like, he's young. He's
where's
a
he gonna
young
fire?
loose cannon.
Where's he going to fire?
Yeah,
and it's scary.
He hasn't hit puberty yet. His wrestling puberty.
No, he has not.
And I think we're gonna eventually see him turn into that at like the pinnacle of this feud.
It's really
exciting.
It's really crazy that this Raw brought out the best
of a lot of people.
So the next match I'm going to talk about is Penta versus JD McDonough, and Penta's entrance was looking great.
His new theme?
His theme, gas. Dude, everything was so good.
They gave
about
him
it.
so much aura now.
Yeah, he has it.
Yeah.
He has it, and he's going to face Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. But aside from that point, JD made him look like $1 million. Like
JD's so good.
Like no one else has ever made Penta
In our
look.
Discord server, they were saying, we want JD. We'll talk about this on Hot Takes later, but I feel like it's valid to the podcast. They want JD to win. And that's because, they knew him since he was Devlin and whatnot. And obviously nerds are going to be nerds. Going to be like, yeah, push my indie guy. But
JD is one of those guys.
He's one of those guys that, like, he didn't actually get over in black and gold. And he honestly should have. He was in progress with Tyler Bate and all them, and they all did better than him. But he came, and now he's like...
Who's up right now, though?
Right.
Who's up right now?
No.
I really do feel like JD is so essential to the WWE right now.
Possibly the next Intercontinental Champion.
He could be. He could be. He really could be.
Give me him versus Dom, and because I think they're really good friends. Like, you can tell from their chemistry.
Yeah, you can.
Let me see them go to work.
I kind of want to start a GoFundMe for new gear for Penta. And I'm not talking about
I get what you mean,
a
though.
new change of gear. When he was in that segment with Chad Gable that we were talking about, it's something so simple, but a lot of loose strings. And it's normal, but the thing is, when you have so many designs on your gear, it's popping out all over the place. I miss
his Lucha Underground fit. It was just all black.
Yeah.
And it was so simple.
Yeah.
And then he started adding like the jersey to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Pentagon Dark, I think they call him.
He's such a better heel.
I can't wait because those chops are going to be a little more vicious.
Have you heard his like peak chop? Especially you get into Lucha, like
oh my
Lucha
goodness.
Now. You see his old AAA and
dude, AAA. I didn't know that AAA is AEW.
No, they're not. They were for a little bit.
They're like AEW.
Oh, you mean
compared to C-Mall?
No, you're right. Yeah,
because they had El Santo and everything, and the C-Mall had that, and then like they're pushing to be the edgy brand.
Yeah, I never realized how big AAA really was because I'm American and I don't know that the world outside of me exists sometimes. They have Marvel sponsors. Like every year they do a Marvel-based show. It's because so big.
And the only reason WWE acquired AAA is because they don't have a good market in Mexico. Nobody cares for WWE. Obviously, people do, but they have their own product,
and it's good.
They're good products, and it's their type of. It's lucha.
Yeah,
it's not watered down wrestling.
It's
and pro
not
wrestling.
Everything else. Like it's not sports entertainment. It's lucha pro wrestling.
It's lucha, and they do some of the craziest. To start the match, they pull out a chair to smack you, and it's like,
it's very 80s. I feel like that's the thing with it. They see one thing I think CMLL has done better is evolve with the times, where like Sin Cara is the man. He doesn't go by Sin Cara anymore. He goes by Mystico.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes whatever.
Kalisto.
Carlistico.
Oh wait, no, that's
Carlistico. He did.
Yeah,
for a while.
I know what you mean.
But like
Kalisto is his boy.
But like you could never tell me 5 years ago that this guy was like on the same level as John Cena. But then I speak to these fans. He's bigger than John Cena.
Yeah.
If you put John Cena in him, you're gonna get a worse reaction for Cena than he did at ECW.
Yeah. If you did that at like a Worlds Collide, I'm pretty sure he's C-Mall guy. But
it's a shame.
If you did that at Worlds Collide, oh brother. But then we'll get into Grayson. No, we're getting the potential babyface turn from Austin Theory, which I'm liking.
God.
Yeah.
So in Evolve, when he was champion, he was a babyface for a while.
Or forget the babyface turn. It's really weird right now. It's really weird. The environment's really weird because it's weird that Seth Rollins' group needs a third guy, and I know I'm dipping into the main event a little bit, but now they're revitalizing.
I want them to say Grayson Waller because Seth has tried Theory in the past and he failed.
Yeah, they did, but I feel like he deserves another shot with a crowd that's begging for him to something big. Because we weren't begging for him then. It was Vince's little boy that we didn't like.
Paul Heyman can get in his ear and be like, look what he's doing to you.
Dude,
I could see that being
and
really,
he doesn't
really
even
good.
have to, though. And that's why I think it might be a babyface turn, just because Austin Theory said during his match as he's getting his butt. Well, what happened was Grayson Waller had a singles match. He asked Adam Pearce for one because he's a little weasel.
Yeah.
He's a little weasel. And he asked him for a match, gave him one. He said, you got Sheamus. And he was like, Austin. But like, in the segment, you didn't know. And it was really cool that they did that. I thought they were going to expose it, but they waited until Sheamus came out. And it was like, I couldn't imagine who it was going to be. I'm like, Rusev? No, he's wrestling Otis. And I'm like, are we getting a... Well, what are we getting?
It was cool that they presented Sheamus as that guy, though. I didn't think Sheamus was going to win either. I thought it was going to be like, them get the win.
I thought that there was going to be an Austin Theory upset, but I understand.
And then I thought it was going to be an upset, and they're going to be like, oh, we're all friends again. And I was going to be like, oh, it's going to keep going. This was the right route.
Yeah, he said to Grayson Waller, he was like, why'd you do this, man? Yeah. Right before he gets the 10
Grayson,
piece of the Balor
like, not watching.
He's like,
or like not caring. He's like, oh.
And then like as Sheamus would get close to him, backs up a little, and he just looks away, and he's like,
he didn't even attempt to interfere.
No,
at all.
Not at all.
It was weird.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
That match is gonna be good.
Yeah, they're on the right route for Austin Theory, I think.
For both of them, I think.
Now, not in American crowds, but everywhere else on Netflix during the commercial break, Karrion Kross gives a pretty good promo.
Oh, I didn't even know.
And then he was cutting his promo, and I think he was talking about Sammy making his decision.
Okay.
And he was like, "Now, do you guys think Sammy made the right decision?" And then like they give a mixed reaction.
Yeah.
And Karrion works with it, and he's like, shades of gray. And he was like, "Looks like we got some bad guys in this crowd." And then he says that, and he's like, "Listen, I'm just the devil you know, fighting the ones that you don't."
So what's so cool is there's this video game series. It's called The Dark Arts, and they make games like Man of Medan and all that. And you get to make the choices, and like your choices affect whether your character so you get like a cast of like 5 or so people, and your choices affect who lives to the end of the game. And there's a character called the narrator, who
he was the narrator of the WWE.
Yes, and the narrator would be like, "Well, interesting choice. I personally wouldn't have killed him or something." But like he'll be like, everyone wants to be good and bad until the decision becomes a little bit gray, and that's so good.
Fucking Karrion, bro.
I gotta show you like something from him because you're gonna see it right away, and he's an awesome theme song too. Like the narrator has a theme song, and me and my friends go crazy every time we hear it. But
yeah,
to that point,
I'm upset that we don't get to see that stuff, but I'm happy
that the crowd is so happy, like is reacting.
Yeah,
to him.
I'm indulged enough that I'm getting a bunch of Karrion stuff in my timeline, and I'm glad about it.
Yeah.
We get into not a garbage promo, but the garbage promo where Becky Lynch comes out and
it wasn't too bad.
People will hate on it. I liked how not corny, but I liked how like
it fit her
and in your face.
Yeah,
well, she always does that.
But like she did like this really like it felt like an analogy that I would do to try to sound like I'm making sense.
Yeah.
With, like when I'm training or some shit, or like we like those vests. They'd be like, "You want a meat and potatoes?"
Yeah, I think that like.
This is Becky going, "It's just the garbage, and I'm taking out the garbage." He's gonna get mad.
Really lay that in.
You want to stretch them and clank.
You really want to get it, pa.
You want to get you want the crowd to feel.
Look at the face. Look at the face.
Oh, you're handsome. Show me your hands.
Show him. Okay. I think there's a garbage count. If we counted how many times Becky Lynch said garbage, I think it was...
You're mad at me for taking out the garbage.
Everybody cheered for me when I came out, and they were like, "Oh, they took out the garbage. Bailey's not here because she is garbage." And then she was like, "Oh, but then I say I took out the garbage, and everybody's mad that I took out the garbage." That's not what you do when someone takes out the garbage.
You say, "Thank you for taking out the garbage."
It was good.
I liked it.
I think I was able to recite the promo because it was that good.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I liked it a lot. And then
I texted you, and I was like, okay, they're winning.
No, I remember I texted you. We were texting at the same time because we've been like having fun with this feud, like with like their reactions. Lyra came out and cooked.
Dude.
So in the beginning, I texted her, I'm like, she's going to do the head thing again. She goes like this, and she stops herself.
Like she's in such deep thought, but it's like you could tell that she's not thinking
she's doing
about
like
it.
Ricky Starks. But she stopped herself, and then she came to the ring. She started off a little shaky, and then she got into it, and then she started going after Becky, like in a way I haven't seen Becky be addressed properly.
I like the start of the promo. Middle wasn't really hitting for me. That end started to hit hard, and then the brawl itself was good.
Yeah,
but I like how she came out at the start, and she was like, "Let me beat one thing into your head.
Yeah,
you never made me." And he's like, and then you came up and you shattered ceilings, and you left the glass for the rest of the locker room to pick
that
up.
There was good writing there. I'm not sure if someone wrote that for her or not.
It was good.
But there was a line where she's like, and you've accomplished a lot. The first woman to main event WrestleMania. The first woman to win a main event of WrestleMania.
The first woman
to win the Intercontinental. Wait, that was me.
It shows her pale ass armpit.
That's what I would look like.
She needs to tan her armpit.
Do you remember my singlets? Oh, I had like half.
It's all right, though. It was all right.
So I get it.
But Lyra gives her the meanest roundhouse kick in the world.
Insane. That was the best black mass I've ever seen.
Dude, she caught her like clean on the chin, I think.
It was a real roundhouse.
It was like Becky snuffing Dominic.
She must have told us to lay it in backstage or something.
Probably.
The crowd finally reacted to Lyra. Mm-hmm. Like properly reacted. And then they actually sang her theme. And it's because this crowd, once again, probably the best crowd we've had.
They made the show. They made the show. They were
that brawl was amazing.
They were the third character in every segment.
Yes.
In every single segment. And sometimes they were the main character.
Yeah.
Especially, we'll talk more.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really liked about this promo is she was like, you didn't bring anybody up with you. And she's like, yeah, I don't like anyone.
Yeah.
Well, it's not my job to bring people up. My
Becky
job
is so
to
good
beat
at being
people
annoying.
Up. Yeah.
She constantly talks over everything.
Yeah.
She was like, and everyone disrespected me. Lyra seems, this is what I'm talking about. Everyone disrespect. Just like, let the theme in.
The one thing I like about it is she's almost giving like Charlotte type of vibes, but not destroying. Because she said, I'm the moment.
Yeah.
You're the moment after the moment.
She's done a good job of playing the legend.
Yeah, and she didn't say that Lyra's
Charlotte
ass.
doesn't play a legend, and like, you know, I obviously put her on a higher pedestal than she probably deserves right now. When I say Charlotte's like I say Charlotte is the Undertaker of women's wrestling, and I still believe
it might be Becky.
No, I think Becky retains her role as being like The Rock and being like the Stone Cold, and that's where her whole thing came from. She actually had a promo with The Rock when she first did that, and she like whooped his ass in her promo. But like, that's what I'm talking about, and that's why Lyra, when she's saying and making it seem like you haven't copied anything.
So I feel, well, you're gonna call me recycling? Oh, I like that part where she was like, and Lyra, she's like the recycling, less offensive than garbage, but still garbage.
Yeah.
It was good. It was really good. But I like how she is able to call a legend like Bayley garbage because you're not bringing Bayley down.
Right.
You're not, because she has her fan
This
base.
has to be for a reason.
Yeah, it has to be. But I like that she's not putting Lyra down the way that Charlotte was trying to bury Tiffany. And the thing is, the second they put hands on each other, wow, does Becky, you could tell she loves Lyra because she sells like a demon for her.
You could tell that they're good friends. Like, that's the type of shit we would do too.
She sells so good for her. Like, she'll push her and then she'll like take a bump into the barricade and then come back and fight. And it's like, that's what it means. Like, you're not going to push and then just keep fighting past the push.
Like, I wrestled my cousin Crispy, and
Jeff Hardy, by the way.
Yeah, he said he had like a bruised throat for a week after we wrestled. Because I was like dropping my knees.
There's nothing better than wrestling your friends.
Yes, bro.
Because it's just a fight.
Yeah, and like but like we know what to do, and like, oh, it's so cool. We're gonna review our Sanctuary Mania match one day.
And don't get too hype. It sucks.
No, it doesn't.
But the thing
best
is,
match of all time.
Dude, we young guys, like, he had some more experience than me, but he had to drag me through that match, and we had to, he carried me throughout.
Someone that was
match.
hating on us said it was like Goldberg versus William Regal.
Which I'm not Goldberg.
No, I think that was so foul.
Because he was running me through shit beforehand. Like, we were working.
Let's get it straight here, because people are going to say what they got to say online. They're going to try to take credit where it's not due. First of all, we basically trained ourselves for the most part. Besides for guys like we're going to bring on and whatnot.
Yeah.
I had a whole winter training with like one of our good friends.
We have people that we idolize within, but it's not the people that are going to come out and say that they were the reason.
His training, I got told on his first day, hey, run him through the bumps. And then his first day, he was in the Royal Rumble match. And then it was entirely on him. I didn't like him too much at first, because it was just a lot of responsibility to put into the head of a guy who didn't know what he was doing either.
Right, and I probably would have felt the same way. on that end. But like the thing was, no matter how mean, he wasn't mean to me.
No, I was
but
mean.
he was off-putting to me. He was putting me off.
Here's the thing. I was trying to give myself a vet role because I knew I needed it to train someone. And I was like, yeah, let's. Then I would purposely say, let's run a match so I could lay in my shots. But it also paid off when we had this triple. This is going so off topic, but I think it's cool.
Yeah.
We had this like triple threat match. So we had 2 weeks to train him, by the way. So it was me, our friend Andre, and for like a day, Schultz. And for like over a week, he kept hitting up my Snapchat like, hey, you want to train?
So this is the thing. I had to prepare for a match in 2 weeks. I had one person with the keys to the kingdom and one person that was going to be able to be there with me and work with me. And I was the dog that he didn't want. I was the stray dog that kept coming up. He would throw my toy as far as he could and try to run away. And I come back up with the toy. And then he was like, fine, I'll keep you.
And then we had like the triple threat. I think is better than our Mania match. I think it's a great match.
Yeah, it's.
I think it's a
genuinely
great match.
good. It's genuinely good.
But like,
my first match, by the way, and this is 3 years ago, Cinco de Mayo. So the anniversary just passed up, and I think I celebrate that more than Cinco de Mayo because that match. There's so many. There's so many
domino
things.
effect of that match existing. Like now that I'm thinking about it, it's really cool. That domino effect led to this podcast here existing.
Can I give a shout out real quick?
Go ahead.
Shout out to Andre Paulino.
Absolutely.
He's wrestling. I don't remember the exact date, but he's wrestling that boy who was WWE ID'd. Which
is he facing?
I don't know too much. I think Jackson. It's Drake something.
Jackson Drake?
Yeah, I think his name.
No, he's not he's a former WWE wrestler.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wait, no. He's 21 years old.
Jackson Drake?
This guy that Andre's wrestling.
Oh, maybe you're right. Wait, is that announced already?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say because I remember Andre told me, but I didn't know it was announced.
No, he's going to wrestle this guy who's WWE ID'd. And he does some cool stuff in GCW. I was looking at...
They just did a tournament for them.
So I'm real... shout out to Andre. Andre has... he definitely helped with both of our careers immensely. And he's somebody that we definitely look up to. We're around the same age, but I look up to Andre. Andre is definitely one of those guys in the ring. He could go.
He's genuine, we'll like shit all over our shit, but like I can't shit over anything Andre's done.
No, and I think that's why we say that the triple threat was so much better than our Mania match because we had Andre in it.
What's crazy is he was hurt. He had like a near broken shoulder. So I'm in there trying to throw shit together.
So we're gonna
review that
on July 19th, 2025. Obviously,
is that a Titan?
No, the Mecca Ridgefield Park. It's through the promotion, the RTC Pod. Well.
Does that respect the craft?
I believe so. It says #respect live.
That card is crazy,
dude. I'm so proud of the kid. So proud of him.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I hope that this match gets the eyes on him that he deserves.
Yeah,
exactly. But we'll get into somebody who's getting the eyes that they deserve. Roxanne Perez versus Io Sky.
So I was watching people react to it, and they were dead, and I didn't get it. Maybe it's just because I got my mark.
I didn't feel like they were dead.
No, I was talking I was watching Santi's reaction to it, and he was just like kind of.
Oh, well, the crowd wasn't dead for it though.
No, the crowd. Once again, this crowd was awesome. But like I was talking about, like online, the IWC. I don't know. I feel like we're getting like too much hate out of this community right now. When it doesn't make sense to me because they had a great TV match, and they were beating the shit out of each other. Oh my god, there was a drop kick, Io Sky hit, and Roxanne smacked against the floor so hard, and then Roxanne got her receipt. She did this like cartwheeled knee drop.
Dude, you know what?
Drove her knee into her head.
She does that to everyone.
Yes, but like Io,
dude, I really like how Io sells. There's that drop kick to the knee that Io like flips on. Yeah. But the thing that got me the most, and it's weird that spot got me the most, is when they are at the turnbuckle and she puts her leg over the like between the rope and the ring post, that little metal piece you have there.
Yeah.
She's on the bottom rope. She puts her knee into it and then stomps on her foot.
Yeah.
And you don't hear the mat. You don't hear, and you hear her shoe scraping off Io's kick pad. Yeah. And it's like,
that's smart.
But it's
so smart.
It was so
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you don't get hurt on that because you're putting pressure onto that top of that foot.
That's what I'm saying. Like there is levels to this shit.
No, because if I'm sitting here and I'm critiquing every single week, and there's stuff, and I'm not saying that I'm a mastermind, but like when there's stuff that makes me go ooh, and I can't figure out how you did it. Well, job well done.
Oh my
I pop more for that
than
that cartwheel thing, just because I just saw her do it to Rhea.
Yeah.
And I was like, her and Rhea's match was good. Io's was better.
Io's the GOAT though.
And way to protect Roxanne Perez.
Yes.
At the end there.
Fantastic end.
Wow.
Difference.
Dude,
amazing.
The first time my girlfriend said, "Is this the first time WWE like was doing those false those back and forth pins and they actually did it?" Somebody in the back was like, "Hey, you know what'd be crazy if we actually finised a match on this?"
Yeah, that's definitely what happened too. Like they would not expect this. Like and
we didn't.
I could definitely hear like a Bobby Roode going like, "You know what would really get him?"
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
It was so good.
1, 2, 1, 2,
You know what sucked
3.
though? After the match when Julia came out, attacked Io, they kept trying for this tag finisher. It looked like shit each time.
That I like it. It was.
I like
the second time wasn't that bad.
It was still shit though.
I didn't hate it. It wasn't something that to me I was like, oh, that sucked.
It was the only like it really bugged me.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
I could see why.
Like I had like noted in my mentally in my head. I'm like, wow.
I think if the second try was the first try, you might have not felt that way.
Maybe
not as bad at least.
I hate that they retried it.
I like how Roxanne's like, hey, let's do it again. You fucked that shit up.
It's pretty shitty. She missed too though.
No, she missed her super kick.
Yeah,
but then they laid in the second one a little bit. It's just that Io really needed to freaking.
I think
was
her
already
having
beat
her
up.
arm caught really took away from the snap of it.
And it took away from like the bring up too, because it's like such an awkward position to bring somebody up.
And they're just not the biggest women. Like they're all pretty tiny.
Yeah.
So like their limbs aren't gonna get the pressure down on the head that like would have made it look. Ugh.
It's also why I'm very hyped for Lyra and Becky's match because they're similar stature.
Oh yeah, they're gonna cook. Women's wrestling, yo.
We get Otis versus Rusev, and I think he's running the Redeemer gimmick. I'm not
big, meaty men.
I know,
slap meat.
I know I'm not big on AEW, but I have heard about Rusev the Redeemer.
That was probably one of like the best AEW title runs I've seen. And like I'm a big critic of AEW, but like I'll occasionally watch it here and there. He had this world title run where like he like defended the title. Like there was a lot of like cool lore to it. And he had like designed this title in like the Bulgarian colors. And he was just on a tear. Like he was just doing good work. And I think he's going to do it better here.
I don't want a title on him. What I want is that
just
gimmick
to be this.
that he said, I want to bring the best out of you. Like he's going to show, like bring people to the deepest waters to show them who they really are.
And then
he's
like, also showing that he's bringing the best out of himself recently. Because like he doesn't know much about Rusev. And then like he didn't know he could do. And then he hit this like leaping, spinning heel kick.
Dude, that's like Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
He got up like Rob Van Dam. Hang time, bro.
I love that they weren't doing flippy shit.
No, they weren't.
It was so good.
Dude, they were beating the hell out of each other.
Otis can fucking wrestle.
Some people were mad like at that match, and they're like Santi, I love you, but he didn't like that match.
Yeah,
and
I don't get it.
I was listening to his review on the way up to school today, and when he said that, I'm like, I made a face. I was like, ugh. It was good. That shit was hard.
Yeah.
That shit was hard.
That's
the thing about having a podcast and just having your own. Everybody has their own opinion and everybody has their own thing. But that match it did it for me. It did for me. Holy shit!
I really liked Raw this week, man.
Welcome, Rusev, bro. Welcome.
Keep it up, bro. If we get I think they're gonna get the handicap between Rusev. Also, can we talk about how he killed Akira Tozawa? So he did not have the right position for that power bomb. And Akira Tozawa went head first onto Otis.
He's so lucky he sat up a little bit, like while he was up there.
Yeah. Did you see how his head whipslashed off? He's lucky Otis is like he's got like blubber or something. So he went.
It might have been harder than the ring, though.
It might have been.
Otis,
he's a solid dude. Like it's not like you bounce off him.
No, I don't think so.
Like that hurts.
He lifts a lot, bro. So then we'll get into. Well, let's give to Rusev. Welcome back, brother. And we're ready for you to not fight for a woman, not fight for a flag that's not yours, but fight to get the best out of everyone.
Let me get Rusev versus Ilya when Ilya returns, because I think that's a feud Ilya needs, and I think it's a good way to not give us Ilya versus Gunther when it's unnecessary.
True. That's true, because we could get like what
and then give me Rusev versus Gunther.
Get Rusev versus Gunther, and it might work up on that. It's pretty cool because we're transitioning right now into Pat McAfee's promo.
Good.
Number one, he was high as shit. Go back and watch. Go back and watch. This boy is in the ring and he's like, hey, ain't nobody beat Omaha's meat.
One thing I will say about Pat McAfee, so a post came out from his wife just before Raw. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I didn't know this, but like they recently lost a child.
No.
Yeah, and so like I'm fully on board with like his promo last week just hit that much more to me because when he's been going through shit, and to see that like amount into like him sticking up for someone and like him proving that he's always been like this loyal. I'm a big softie. Like I think those stories are what make wrestling to me because you look back at like some of the greatest stories of all time, like Daniel Bryan's return. Mm-hmm. That's him coming back from losing everything. Dude. And then to see Pat, like Mac, who's a guy who doesn't wrestle much, when he has wrestled, once again, black and gold guys they were up there. And he wrestled with them.
But hand him the mic.
Yes.
Hand McAfee the mic. There's a reason he's on commentary.
Too.
He can wrestle. He can move in the ring.
So
he's not a Haas.
I really appreciate the dedication to the craft. And like that's one thing I can't take away from anyone who comes to WWE and does it. Like as much as I shit on Logan Paul here and there, he's getting his ass beat and like he's getting fucked up by these guys because they want to prove that they're the pro wrestlers and he's the thing.
And he takes it.
And then Pat McAfee to go through what he's going through on like that kind of a level and like for us to not even know. Dude, his wife just put that out as appreciation for him.
Wait, why did Gunther lean into it?
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what it was.
Gunther said,
obviously he has like another kid.
Big day for you. 2 years old. Mm-hmm. Cute. You know what's a big day for me? Saturday.
Yes.
It's like, good. I'm glad you didn't dip in too much. Mm-hmm. But
I think that's why I think it hit so much for me because I had just read that. And then Gunther leaned into him and he's like, heard your daughter's birthday just came around.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Very cute. And then he was like, and on Saturday, and you know what?
By the grace of God.
You just got me in the mood.
Yes.
He goes, you just got me in the mood. Yes. You have my undivided attention.
Yes. I am going
to maul you.
I'm going to maul you. And by the grace of God.
The only thing that will lift my arms off your throat is the grace of God.
That was when he said, by the grace of God.
Dude, he cooked.
That's such a hard line.
And people said, oh, that was a snooze fest.
What?
Bro, then take a nap, bro.
I think I'm reverting. I think I'm like at a point of a wrestling fan where like I've done too much of being like the asshole where like I'm generally just enjoying wrestling again as a fan. And maybe that's why Jey Uso is growing on me again. Maybe. But I think this is how wrestling should be enjoyed. I think
it was great.
As being a part of like having been part of both sides of the community where I bitch about everything.
Yeah.
That I'm in group chats with people who just bitch about everything.
Everything.
Just enjoy the product sometimes. And I get it. I'm upset. I'm very upset about the releases. I'm upset about the company. But about what these wrestlers are doing and like what they're giving and what all these people are coming together to put together a product. I am satisfied as a wrestling fan. As a person who loves WWE, like who loves pro wrestling, seeing what WWE is doing, I'm not the biggest fan. Like there's a lot of like things that like internally beat me up. But I just love wrestling. So when I see good wrestling, I'm gonna appreciate good wrestling. And that's what I've been getting.
And Pat McAfee is playing his role really well.
And he's doing a good job of making me care about a match that I was upset about initially.
I'm excited. I know that there's one thing that really beat his heart up. And you tapped out. You tapped out.
I was pissed.
You tapped out.
I was pissed.
He did. He's a little bummed.
Yeah.
But you know what? Pat McAfee drove this story. He was like, I know why. It's because you got soft. You're jaded. Wow. Way to actually like give something to his character.
Way to give. That's what. Yes.
What the fuck?
That's why. Oh my God. He's such a good. But he did this with sports too. As a sports broadcaster, he gave story to sports. This is what football fans don't realize when like we say, well, that's fake too. We're giving it fake stories. Every time the Bills is close to the Super Bowl, all Bills fans are like, Mafia! Because they want to see the team that hasn't won a Super Bowl in years. They want to see them do this for the first time ever. When the Cubs won the World Series, that was their story. They've never won a World Series. And the Cubs are in the finals. They're in the Worlds, and they won. And like that's the stories that they make up.
That's what WWE is.
WWE takes that and makes it reality, and they make it bigger, and they make it larger, and they can do this with anyone. They give the story. Remember Daniel Bryan on his build to WrestleMania 30, they also like had the underlying story of Conor the Crusher.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you remember that.
No.
So it was this Make-A-Wish kid who had like chronic cancer.
Oh, wow.
And he was the biggest Daniel Bryan fan. Even when Daniel Bryan was going, no, like he used to come out wearing his jacket, and they showed these scenes where like Daniel Bryan and him just had like this crazy connection.
That's so cool.
And if you like watch it, like it'll make you cry. Every year it makes me cry.
I know I give Daniel Bryan some hate, but one thing I'm not going to hate is what he's done for the business.
And I don't even think you give him hate. I just think you don't. You didn't watch when he was wrestling.
It didn't connect with me too much, and it's I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Wrestling, but that's what I like about wrestling too.
He didn't push me out of wrestling. John Cena did, and that's Vince McMahon. And you know what? But it built you hard times, and I know that I left, but I'm here now. Mm-hmm. I'm here, and I'm enjoying the product, and I'm sorry. Sorry for leaving because I was a kid. I know, but
to that point.
Being a fan now is just so.
Being an adult fan, I think, is better than being a little kid fan because you get to become a little kid again.
Yeah.
For like the moment when life is so garbage sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially now, like we know everything's going on around the world, which is why I like calling. Like I'm so glad we called it Mark's World because there's so much going on and the world is so infuriating sometimes. Life is so weird sometimes. But then we could sit here for like 3 hours out of our day,
grab little plastic figures of our memories.
A bunch of Celsius.
And
I get a Sour Patch every fucking week.
And what do? We sit
here
here
and talk about wrestling.
It's like taking exams. You're sitting in schools.
Yes.
We're pursuing stuff, and adult stuff.
And it's stressful. Life is stressful.
WWE has literally it's therapy.
Yeah.
It's
and that's why I like bringing up the Conor the Crusher thing because that kid ended up dying after everything. But on the build, Daniel Bryan met with like him and his father, and later on, Conor got awarded a Hall of Fame spot.
Oh my goodness!
The Ultimate Warrior Hero Award, which is like to commemorate a non-pro wrestler within the WWE Hall of Fame. And his dad was like the initial, like he came out and gave the speech for Conor, and it just shows how wrestling alleviated that like chronic pain that I can't even imagine on a little boy that like was like, I don't think he was even 8 years old. And like to see Daniel Bryan, everyone was calling a GOAT, like because they said that he looked like a GOAT. They weren't calling him the greatest of all time. Gave him the beard. They gave him like they called him a B+ player.
Yeah.
Imagine how that felt to a kid fighting cancer,
right?
Who was getting told you're not gonna.
They were telling him no.
Yeah, and then that kid got to see his hero hold up the 2 titles against 2 of the biggest company men ever in Batista and Randy Orton. In the same night, he beat Triple H. Wow. That's pro wrestling. That's what WWE can do.
That's the only reason we have this Mark's World.
Yeah.
And it's just the smallest smidge of you seeing, like, you guys can get hyped to see our content and, like, how much we're passionate about what happened on Raw. But, like, what they do for everyone else, and I feel bad that like sometimes these adults are getting these front row seats and it's costing more and this and that. But dude, when you see those little kids in the front row, I've had Angelina in the front row, and it's just like wow. When Dominic's Mysterio's he was the heel, but his shirt fell, and she loved Rhea Ripley so much, and I was like, hey security guard, can I have that shirt? She still has it to this day, hung up, and It just does something different
wrestling
for the kids.
It really is for the kids. There's this another wrestler we'll talk about, and I'll see if we can even get him on here one day. I'll talk about him more another time because his whole brand's for the kids, and I think wrestling is for the kids in many ways.
Yeah,
and that's referring to adults too. And I think that sometimes the IWC forgets that you're kids too. When you're online,
oh yeah, we're
Dave
all
Meltzer said that they were lazy, fat bums. Dave Meltzer's a kid who's upset and we're trying to stay relevant also. And there's nothing wrong with what Dave Meltzer does. Cena himself is like, we need Dave Meltzer, and that's such a humble take.
Yeah.
And then to say we need every wrestling fan of all kinds because they give us content for this podcast. Right. They give us they give us something as humans to like put
latch
away.
Onto.
Like when I'm looking through Twitter, I'm gonna see, this is happening in the Oval Office. This is happening in Palestine. All this is going on, like all these wars, World War III imminent, and then under that I'll see where's Omos. Like, yeah, where the fuck is Omos?
Sapiens rise.
Where is Omos?
That's what we need.
Yeah.
It's what we need. And
what we really, I don't think we needed it, but thank you for giving it to us, that Raw main event.
Yes.
Whoa,
Yes.
brother, whoa.
Yes.
I like that you're not singing this song. I like that Paul Heyman is making it annoying.
Yeah.
I like everything. Everything about this match, and I don't even know how to really get into it.
It was so good.
I don't even know how to get into it to start describing why it was so good.
So here's how I like, in my mind, I pieced this together. And like I pieced it together very weird. Like in my head, I'm like, Seth Rollins as the heel is coming into this character where he's always been this character, but like as a heel, it works so much better. He out wrestles Jay in the beginning, like they scrap, like they get into like wrestling.
And he was
chain.
moving him around.
And I love that. That's my favorite kind of wrestling. When I was wrestling, that's what I love to do the most. And then he went, and then after out wrestling him, he gave space. One thing I feel like pro wrestlers don't do enough is give space for the crowd to eat it up. But he gave space in the right way. He embarrassed him. And then and then he got on the top rope and like he rested.
Yeah, and he was chilling.
And then
He
all of a
also
sudden
ran out of the ring.
we see the guy that we've been bullying online get bullied, and we're like,
Yeah.
that's what you get.
Yeah,
And that's how it started from him, like, see, he can't wrestle.
yeah.
And then Seth gets back to it. And then they wrestle. And then Jay gets the upper hand. Seth rolls out, and then Braun's getting upset. He's moving around, and then Seth's like, relax. He's the world champion for a reason.
Yeah.
Wow. What a way to validate
Put him over.
an issue.
And they were doing it all
that's
raw.
going
They were
on.
like, Jey Uso's no walk in the park.
Yes,
Jey Uso.
but you can't have Michael Cole do it because Michael Cole doesn't get it.
No, Paul Heyman was doing it though.
Paul Heyman gets wrestling. I'm not saying Michael Cole doesn't have a good wrestling mind. Michael Cole has a good sports entertainment mind. He's a good commentator, but he can't talk over the story moments that made Jey Uso in this match.
No.
We had Jey Uso at the best he's ever been because he's not only is he being led the best he's probably been led in a long time, and that's one thing. Gunther, like, he's probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Like, he probably is my favorite wrestler. He doesn't have the ability Seth has to grab someone by the hand, and he does, but like different styles. And that's the thing. I think he still struggles to work with sports entertainers, which is why his match with LA Knight on NXT, which I thought was going to be a banger, was pretty boring. Seth could work with anyone because he was both.
Seth could wrestle a mop.
Yeah.
And if you guys are saying that's what you guys are trying to compare Jey Uso to, but Jey Uso
He proved that he was
did
more.
his
Because
thing.
Seth brought it out of him. Seth gave the move, like he made the space. Seth as a heel did a good job of making every moment in this match a moment.
And it wasn't forced at all.
And the aggression I said was missing in the Gunther match, that I'm like, why did he win like this? Like, and like the constant finishers, the crazy
Yeah.
superselling. Seth didn't supersell a thing.
No.
Seth got connected with. He got his ass beat. He took some snug ass spears. He took some crazy super kicks. And at some moments, I popped when Jey Uso kicked out of his shit.
Dude,
'Cause
okay.
I was on my feet the whole match.
One thing that got us both a little upset when Michael Cole's like, "Oh, you didn't get all that stomp." No,
He got too much of it.
he got that stomp.
Yes.
and he kicked out of it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's our world champion. There's a reason that he's the world champion, and he proved it by taking a stomp from Seth Rollins after a freaking superplex to a Falcon's Arrow, and then gets stomped.
They think that wrestling fans are going to see a guy with his head tucked after taking a stomp and like oh, they're gonna call it a botch, and so let's cover it up. That's not needed. Some botches make wrestling look better.
Yeah,
and that wasn't a botch. He just sold it. Like he got his head
spiked.
planted. Yeah,
He spiked.
And it was an awkward spike, but it was a good spike in my opinion.
Yeah, it was fine. It was
It was good. Like, it was a good match. We don't need you making excuses in the middle of a good match.
dude. And then we get which I didn't expect Sami Zayn to come out, but you did. You called it.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn comes out, and they also protect Braun Breaker because
Yeah.
Braun Breaker's ready, and it's like, oh yeah, if he charges down and tries to fight me, it's not gonna happen. Ambushes him.
Yep.
Gives him a little bit of beats. Ends up focusing on Seth Rollins for a second. Gets annihilated with a spear.
I thought that was like the worst Braun spear ever.
No. It was on Jay that it was the worst Braun spear.
Yeah.
So then he goes and he hides. Jay comes out to check on Sami Zayn, and he gets a whack spear. But it was good because the camera didn't catch it. But then on the replay, they
they
replayed
should
it.
have showed the replay.
It was fine, him getting killed in the background.
And they showed. I was like, oh, he fell on him.
because in the same shot, you have Seth staring at Paul, like, and it was like, okay, let's move. But
And then Seth hits a curve, and Jay kicks out.
Jay kicks out of this curb stomp.
Yeah.
And it's like,
But
no,
you're right.
No, because that's when Punk came out. So we're
Yeah.
getting a little bit ahead
got
of
ahead.
ourselves. But there was this one moment when Jey Uso gets his spear. He starts getting the shit
Super
going.
kick.
Yeah, super kick. Gives him a spear. Heads up top. Gives him a Uso splash. And then Seth, I don't know if he on the count of 2 took a line of coke or something.
Please.
How the fuck did he kick out?
Bro, and we're in an era where I don't believe pro wrestlers have finishers anymore. Like, they have notable moves, but they don't have finishers anymore. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you need a finisher.
No, you need
And
a
maybe
story.
that's because I'm a younger wrestling fan, so I don't care about that kind of stuff. I don't think that sells a product anymore. I think this made it better. I think when Superman beats the Kryptonite, it makes his fights better. I think when Batman gets past the laughing gas, it makes him versus Joker better.
Right.
When Spider-Man rips off the venom out of his suit and he goes back to being regular Spider-Man, it makes Spider-Man better. So why would that not pertain to the finishers?
Yeah, and dude, the kickouts were ridiculous.
They were good though.
This wasn't predictable. That's what made it so good.
I thought
bit
that
on
we had a
everything.
new champion.
I bit on everything.
I thought we had a new champion.
That's what it's all about. I was biting on everything.
Yes.
You Jey Uso haters, go to bed. I mean, you guys could say whatever. Oh, Seth Carey. Oh, and then you guys are glazing Seth. Whatever.
Jay held his own and it was great.
Bro, Jay did it. He did it. He did it.
What I liked about it the
my favorite
most
singles
is-
match from Jay.
It's probably
By
the
far.
best. Yeah. What I liked about it the most was Jay didn't add anything to his moveset besides the sleeper.
Threw it in.
If he's gonna keep the sleeper, I'm okay with it. That's making a good use of that moment.
Yeah.
Because now Jay has one of the
They
best.
pop for it. They're
Yes.
like, oh no.
Jay has the best sleeper in pro wrestling canonically now.
Yeah, in Canada.
So the fact that he even went for it and Seth scrambled because he knew what that sleeper can take out. That's how you build.
he arm dragged him and dipped.
That's
It's
how
like,
you.
no.
That's how you fix shit up, though. That's how you fix the problems that people are having. That's why Seth is so good. That's why Jay is improving. Jay is understanding where there's flaws in what's going on, and he's capitalizing on it. And maybe that's the producers. And maybe that's the producers fixing flaws in the past. They carried it out to perfection. Great fucking match.
And Seth was leaking, didn't sell it at all.
Back of his head was fucking.
His blonde hair was dyed red, and they worked the match.
It got to the point I was upset hearing CM Punk's theme.
Yeah, we slide Jey Uso in for the cover, and we think we got a new champion.
Yeah.
CM Punk comes down, and Seth scrambled.
Yeah.
Braun Breaker scrambled, and it was great.
Yeah.
They ended the
They
night
never
off.
rang the bell though.
No,
That was weird.
It's still going on.
Yeah,
But
they're probably fighting backstage right now as we speak.
so it ended pretty well. We had CM Punk and Sami Zayn standing tall, Jey Uso in the corner, which was good. It was like not Jey Uso being like, because he was a little bit embarrassed. He was like, oh crap, I almost lost my title.
Yeah.
And like, oh boy.
But what a first! That's his first defense.
First defense.
What a first defense
After shocking the world.
What a way to bring a world championship back to Monday, to weekly wrestling.
First time in 7 months.
That shouldn't be the case. The
Yeah,
world
but-
champion should be active, and that's one good thing about having Jay around. He's actively there. What sucks is that he won the world title. He's like, all right, I don't know how much time I got left. Like, come on, let's not talk about that till after you lose the belt.
Yeah.
Because now I'm just, all right, he's gonna leave right after.
No, he won't. He won't.
But-
He'll be around
Yeah.
until he's like 45. I think we got 5 more years out of Jey Uso.
Yeah, but this is my issue with like the press conferences to an extent. Like, do your press conferences in your character, and that's why I like when he comes on drunk.
Damn near world heavyweight champion.
No, you are world champion.
Damn near. 2-time world chalker though.
Great. You sent me that photo during Raw, and I thought Roman was gonna come out because I thought that was a photo of Roman and Rhea.
No, it was
Yeah.
Finn Balor was talking to Roxanne Perez. What's going on?
Yeah.
AJ Styles botched his promo.
I stuttered a little.
And we said we would be flustered too in the presence of Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, just greatest Intercontinental champion of all time. I'm excited for whatever him and Finn do because it seems like they're gonna team.
Hey Prince.
It seems.
How you
like,
doing, Prince?
I like that he called him Prince. I don't
Yeah.
know what about it.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
Yeah, I like that they're bonding. Like it was a very,
It was like hey,
but and I like that it's gonna make Dominic uncomfortable.
it does already.
Yeah.
It makes him uncomfortable.
And I like that Dominic assigned him to do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, so I'm doing all your dirty work. And
to clean up your mess.
Lucky Charms. No.
He's like, I'm kidding. And
Yeah.
I like that line.
Yes.
He was like, I got you. And then Dom's like, I knew you were. I always said you were the dad who stepped up. But
What's crazy is he's gonna end up being the dad that like beats his ass.
Yeah. When Raw went off air, I still think we're gonna get Jey Uso versus Logan Paul at Backlash, and next week on this podcast we'll be reviewing. So let's see if we get that right. Let's see if Jey Uso can put on another good match.
I hope so. I think
Humble.
that this is gonna be like a good sign of the times for him. I'm actually pretty happy with how much we've like where we've kept the timing on this podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't want to overdo it. Raw, I give like 4.5 stars.
Yes, A plus show.
Yeah,
I'll give it an A plus.
I gave
just
plus
because
if,
I liked Rusev. I liked how they're bringing up Roxanne and Julia, and they're prominent on the roster. They're stand tall over their world champion. I like how AJ and Finn are doing some stuff. I like how
think-
everybody's
yeah.
coming after Dom's title.
Everything feels important right now. I think everything, like, I care about everything, and it's making me want to watch Raw every week when I wasn't. Like, only recently have I started watching it weekly, and like I actively miss on SmackDown, but like, oh, Raw's on, I gotta hurry up and get home.
The one thing that my least favorite match was probably Sheamus versus Austin Theory, but I like where they're pushing the envelope. So it's like
The
can you
match
be mad at it?
served its purpose.
So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, Raw is cooking. SmackDown needs to catch up.
Yep.
It's three people's fault, and it's not Cody's like fault. It's just that he's not there.
Yeah.
It's Roman, John Cena, and Cody are missing from SmackDown.
And you can't even blame It's Cena.
It's
Cena.
Cena. It's Cena. I hate John Cena.
I hate John Cena.
You did your job before you started all this stuff for me. Trust me.
It's always John Cena versus LWO. We remember what you did to Rey Mysterio. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back soon. This was Mark's World.
Hot takes
episode
coming next. 4. We're doing this for a month now, right? Or
Let's go.
Maybe it's episode 3. Maybe I'm bugging.
Hot takes.
Hot takes.
See you in the next one.